Kansas City Sports Update Studios. Welcome to Kingdom Radio, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Join Chris and Richard on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Player FM, CastBox, and all third-party applications. Check us out on Facebook platforms such as Kansas City Sports Update and Arrowhead Update. And if you cannot find us there, Google or search Kingdom Radio and Kansas City Chiefs, and you will find us. Welcome to the Kingdom.
How's it going, Kansas City? Welcome to Kingdom Radio. I'm your host, Richard Smith, and with me, as always, we have our co-host and senior NFL analyst with us this evening, Chris Chavez. How are we doing, Chris?
I'm doing really good. I'm feeling hopeful for this week.
Yeah. We have a short week, and we have Denver coming up, and there's some big news going on here inside the NFL today because, the trade deadline is coming up here in about a week and a half, and some big things happen that we'll get into here in just a few. But first, I want to touch base on our live show that we did at Platte City Pizza Shop last night. Hey, look, we started Donkey Haters Week, and I was out there, with Baron Washington Jr., and also Dylan Humphreys from Arrowhead Update made an appearance, and we just went out there and we had a good time. And so Kansas City, get out there and support Kingdom Radio. We're out in the community now. It's not just a web-based broadcast or radio-based broadcast. Like, we are live. So come out to Pizza Shop. We have another one on Thursday. We'll have a pregame show, a halftime show, and a postgame show. And so please get out there and support us. We'd love to see all of you. We'd love to interact with the fans and get everyone involved. So I want to touch base a little bit on that. And hopefully we can get Chris Chavez up here to do some live shows. But hey, we need some support from Kansas City to get this man up from New Mexico. So
yeah, hopefully I can make the one here pretty soon, man.
Hey, that would be great. We'd love to get you up here. And it's coming. I think Kansas City knows that as well. I think they know that we take things seriously here at Kingdom Radio. But it's about the fans, and that's what we love, and I think that's what's always going to make Kingdom Radio special is, it's not about one sole person or individual, it's about us as a group, to bring the best content that we can to the fans. And I feel like that if we continue to strive to do that, nothing but the best results will happen here for Kingdom Radio. So, look, Kansas City, we appreciate your support, but we're going to talk some Chiefs now because, Brett Veach didn't pull the trigger on a huge deal that went down today. There's actually two huge deals that went down today, and a missed opportunity for the Chiefs. Now, granted, I wouldn't have wanted to pay the price that either of these teams paid for any of these players. But, Chris, tell us what happened today with the trade deadline coming up. What's the big news here in the NFL?
Okay, so there was kind of a domino effect of sorts. The Los Angeles Rams traded Marcus Peters, a former Chief, to the Baltimore Ravens for a player and a undisclosed draft pick, rumored to be a fifth-round draft pick, which opened up two holes, really, at the quarterback position because they also placed Aqib Talib on injured reserve yesterday. And so following that move, and I'd say probably about 20, 30 minutes later, the Rams announced another trade deal that they delivered Jalen Ramsey from the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 first-round picks, one this year, one next year, and a 4th-round pick in that following year as well.
So let me ask you this, Chris, and we're gonna, this is a question to Kingdom or Chiefs Kingdom as well. Is if you're Brett Veach, would you have paid that price? Because I'm telling you right now, as a Chiefs fan, I would have been highly upset if we would have given up 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey and then another, pick as well. And obviously, there's some bad blood there between Marcus Peters and the Rams. And it seems like every place he touches down, he just causes problems and chaos. And, I'm not even really sure what he's doing, but it absolutely is enough, for the Rams to part ways with Marcus Peters as well.
So in response to your first question, I don't think the FCC would allow me to respond the way that I would really want to in regards to the trade for Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
I will just mirror your response of heck no to that trade. I think, and all season long, a lot of fans and media have been clamoring for the Chiefs to pull the trigger and to make the trade to get Jalen Ramsey. Here's the problem with that. Mm-hmm. Let's say that we made that trade for the exact same price, 2 first-round picks and a fourth-round pick. That then make 4 straight years that the Chiefs would not have a first-round pick.
Wow, we can't do that.
On your perspective, if you can say, well, you got Patrick Mahomes, well, you got Frank Clark. I don't count those.
Right.
We would have given up 4 first-round picks in a row, and that normally sinks any franchise, regardless of the quality of player that you brought in for that price.
Yes, because, and you think about, the future of a franchise and just how important those first-round picks are, and even trading away those first-round picks to bring more talent, to your team. It's a scenario where you're right. It would bury a team not to have 4 first-round picks in a row, and even a team like the Chiefs. Look at our injuries right now. That's something that. Chiefs Kingdom has to keep in mind, and fans around the NFL. For any franchise, injuries happen. There's freak accidents. I mean, you never know. From day to day, life can turn on you in a minute, and so I think that it's extremely important to have that backing of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to find that talent, and is the draft a crapshoot? Yeah, it is. But the more first-round picks that you have, the greater chance you have of nailing or finding that diamond in the rough, really. Even in the first round, you're looking at a 50-50 chance of nailing a player or end up with a guy like Marcus Mariota, who ended up just getting benched by the Titans.
Yeah, which did not surprise me a bit, and I feel like that's something that has been coming, but that's outside the point. But yes, like it's things like that. Like, you never know what's going to happen on your franchise, and it pays to have those draft picks. So I looked. That was a laughing stock of a deal, if you ask me. The Rams are Super Bowl or bust right now. That team's going to fall apart here in the future as well.
Oh, absolutely. And is there because the striking thing about this deal is that at this moment, and the Rams and Ramsey have not discussed a contract extension at all.
Wow.
And so potentially they could have, and I mean, things can change, but they could have traded away 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick for a guy that they're going to have for the next 8 weeks.
Which is insane. And I've seen the Rams pull the trigger on so many players, and they have so many high-profile names there that with franchise unfriendly deals, extremely unfriendly deals, and it's just wait till that team falls apart. Remember when the 49ers fell apart?
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking, 6-7 years ago. The whole team left, all of them, including the coach, in 1 year. Like, that's what we're looking at with the Rams. Like, I see that coming here. I think that the Rams franchise felt pressure, from moving from St. Louis to Los Angeles. They felt the pressure to perform, and they went out there and they spent every single dime they had to bring the best team that they could, and they're still not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a really bad analogy here, but this deal just feels like Sean McVay is playing Madden with his team right now and not thinking about the long-term effects on his franchise.
It's going to come. It's going to catch up to them, and this is one of those scenarios where it's legitly going to slap them in the face all at once, and they're not going to know what to do. But hey, that's football. It's all about, the future and balance. And that's something that obviously the Rams don't have. And to be perfectly honest with you, the Chiefs need to get back to. So with that being said, look, those are the big trades today. Obviously, the Rams were, involved in both aspects of this deal. I think they overpaid to get rid of a problem on their franchise, which is, blows my mind. You had a top-tier talent, then you get rid of him to go overpay to destroy the future even more. So I wonder how much they still owe Marcus Peters.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I definitely think that it's going to be at least the majority of his contract for this year. But this was also his contract year on his rookie deal. So the Ravens, they could potentially be looking at a contract extension with him. They'll save some money there. And the Rams, they took on a huge contract because Ramsey's going to be commanding a lot of money from them.
Yes, and I don't think he's going to bring any more production to the Rams than Peters did. Yes, he's a shutdown corner, but you just went tit for tat across the board. Look, Marcus Peters, you're not going to pay 2 firsts. I don't care what kind of money he's asking. If Marcus Peters won $40 million over 4 years, you should pay the man and not go give up 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, the disparity in what they paid on those prices, and to one degree or another, I put them in top tier cornerbacks in the league. I put them both in top 10.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm kind of giving Marcus Peters a little bit of credit there. I should deduct some points on his tackling ability. But as far as coverage, he's right up there.
Oh, yeah, and he makes some incredible plays. His instincts on the ball are something you can't teach.
Yeah, and the way that he sets up quarterbacks as well. The guy's a magician at that position. And for the price that they got for Peters and what they gave up for Ramsey is so disparaging that it really makes you wonder what the heck the Rams were thinking making that deal.
That's kind of like, the Oakland Raiders giving up, Khalil Mack for a first-round pick and then going out and getting a running back. And now, what's he doing?
He's doing all right, but he's definitely not leading the league in yards.
No, but that's my thing is he's not Khalil Mack. No matter how you look at it across the board, that was one of the dumbest moves that in my lifetime that any franchise has made up until this point right here. This move doesn't make a lot of sense for me. Marcus Peters, he's really. I wish I knew the backstory on Marcus Peters and why these teams are willing to walk away from such a premier talent over and over. 2 different teams on a rookie contract, and now you're headed to your third. There's a character flaw there, and it's got to be horrible. It's got to be really bad for them to overpay for Ramsey the way they did. And think about this too. If you're sitting there as the GM, of the Rams, and you think about the fact of the headache that you went through with Marcus Peters, is the headache that you go through with Marcus Peters worth the headache that you're going to have a few years down the road with your entire franchise because you moved on from him and you went and you got Jalen Ramsey? And look, we've said this over and over that Jalen Ramsey is a poor man's Marcus Peters. And so they're going to go give up 2 first-round picks. I wouldn't give a first-round pick for Marcus Peters. And so it's I don't know about this. This is just a desperation move, and it is going to destroy their franchise in a couple of years. So that headache that comes along with it, what do you say about that, Chris? Is it worth the headache a few years down the road for all this, or putting up with Marcus Peters?
Okay, so I'm going to get to your question here in a second. Mm-hmm. But another aspect I wanted to tackle really quickly is the Rams already lost a cornerback and putting Talib on the injured reserve list. and so they're already missing a cornerback. Why don't you just make the trade and bring in Ramsey and have Ramsey and Peters play the rest of the year side by side?
I mean, hey, I can't argue with that. But, I mean, were they willing to give up? I guess they weren't willing to give anybody else up, you know? Does everybody else on that team hold that much value to where there was nobody else on the trading block? Or, you know, I guess, do they want Marcus Peters out of there that bad? It's mind-blowing, to be honest with you.
Well, and to go down that road, I mean, essentially what they paid for, or what they got in return for Peters, they basically paid the Ravens to take him.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that they were afraid of having those two head cases in the same locker room together. However, now let's say that this was, I'm going to go down the Sean McVay's pipe dream here for a minute and pretend like this is Madden, where I don't have to deal with any of the personality issues. On paper, having Peters on one side and Ramsey on the other, that's a scary defense.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that the Rams felt that they had to get rid of Peters in order to bring in Ramsey, something else is definitely going on there in that locker room, like you already touched on. And given all of that, and now to go back to your original question, and he's definitely not worth the risk.
No, the risk outweighs the reward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he wanted to go to California. We sent him there, and he still wasn't happy. And so I don't understand. I don't know what this guy is looking for out of the NFL. But whatever it is that he's getting, he's not happy with it.
You know, and I don't think he's going to be happy in Baltimore. You know, what better situation could you have to win a Super Bowl than play for the Los Angeles Rams or the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, he's backtracking now, and it's not about the money. You know, it's not about the game. Like, it's about Marcus Peters and whatever is going on in his head. And I firmly believe that. And it's no, you know, there's no judgment with that. It's just like, how are we supposed to know what's going on in that man's head? And why he's flopping around so much in the NFL, such a high talent. But hey, look, Kansas City, I feel like we've, you know, spent quite a bit of time on these players here, and that is a big deal. In my mind, a very ignorant deal for the Los Angeles Rams. I don't understand it. But what I do understand is that the Kansas City Chiefs play the Denver Broncos Thursday night. We have a short week, and we're banged up. Chris, go ahead and take off. What's up with the injury report right now, and what are we looking at? Because this is going to be a tougher game than we think it is. That running game of Denver is deep, and our whole team's banged up. So touch base here on the injury report. What do we have going on? Okay,
so I'm going to leave off the list of everybody who was a full practice participant today, but players of note who are still out are Eric Fisher, Andrew Wiley, Kendall Fuller is looking to get a second opinion on his thumb, but it looks to be a fractured thumb. And then obviously Chris Jones is going to be out again because he's not seeing any practice time at all right now. And then Sammy Watkins was limited in practice again. I was really hoping that he'd have a better year this year as far as staying healthy, but it just looks like this guy he can't do it. And, you know, I think after this season we say sayonara.
Yes, and it gets to a point where is it more of a discussion of his heart? I mean, does he have the heart to, you know, get through an entire season? Because I said this before. This is a make or break year for Sammy Watkins, and realistically, it's because of things like this. Like, tough it out. Get on the field, show your team, that you're faithful to them, and it's one of those things that He's not the right fit for Kansas City. If he was a full-time player, absolutely. But let's be honest, and it shows we need Sammy Watkins, and he does not understand that.
And I'm going to take a different angle on this. I believe that this year he was trying to be different.
Yes.
I feel that he knew that he had to step up, and he had to be a different player than he has been the rest of his career.
Right.
But having been an athlete my entire life and been a guy who's had to battle and push through and had to fight through injuries,
mm-hmm.
That's not something that you can just all of a sudden snap your fingers and just do.
Right.
It's a mindset.
Yes.
And I feel like, and again, I don't know his story, I don't know his background, but I feel like Sammy Watkins has never had to be that guy who's had to push through those major injuries. And so now that he's got these little nagging injuries that won't go away, he's letting it get into his psyche, and he's not letting it, or he's not pushing through and overcoming it, and he's letting it just create this wall in front of him that he can't overcome and can't get past.
Yeah, and it's purely mental because, the injuries that he has, they're not injuries that should sideline you as a player. Like I don't know what's going on, but those nagging injuries, it's not going to ruin your career. At some point, you have to get past that and understand that there's a goal for the entire year for the whole team, and you are very much a part of that. Very much a part of that, and you need to play that role no matter what. I mean, look. You see Tyreek Hill chomping at the bit on the sideline. When he was out these last few games, you could tell it was killing him to stand on the sideline. And I don't see that out of Sammy. I do not see that same passion out of Sammy Watkins. And I feel like even in college, where he went to Clemson, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so, he played on a national championship team at Clemson. I believe they won the national championship. All he had to do was run fly routes. There was so much talent around him. All he had to do was run fly routes. And look, we tried to create that same recipe for you here in Kansas City, and you're blowing it. You're blowing it. You could be a part of the biggest dynasty, in football history if you just pull it together. Just pull it together, Sammy. That's all we need to do. Just get your head right. Get back in the game and show Kansas City why we paid you the big money.
And on the flip side, I would like for him to sit out this game. I know that this game is going to mean a lot to Chiefs Kingdom, to the Chiefs, to get this win. But looking big picture, I would much rather he be 100%, or at least closer to 100% than he currently is right now.
Right.
For the Green Bay game next week.
Which is going to be huge, and we all know what Aaron Rodgers can do. And, look, their defense has stepped up as well. Their defense is no joke, and that's going to be a really tough game for Kansas City. But, look, we've got Denver before that, and let's be honest, this is what scares me about Denver. When we have played Denver the last 3 or 4 years, look, we have a great record against them. I believe we've won like 8 in a row or something like that. But... is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so we've won 8 in a row. Now, this is what scares me. Those wins did not come easy. None of them. And those games, we put up 21 points, 17 points, 28 points. We don't put up the numbers against Denver that we put up against every other team in the NFL, and we're not putting those numbers up right now. Do you know this is the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career, his whole life, that he had a passer rating under 100 for 3 straight weeks? And, it might be sitting at 97.8, whatever it is, but what's going on with Patrick Mahomes is real. We have an extremely tough divisional opponent that is very, very, very deep at running back. That's a scary scenario for a Kansas City Chiefs team, who really we couldn't stop anything. We can't stop anything, and to me, I'm nervous. I don't know about you, Chris, but in my mind, we already know the recipe Denver's going to come with, and my thing is can we stop it?
Well, I think that it's definitely going to be a scheme change that we have to make. We have to commit to stopping the run. We need to stack the box. Put in 8 players in that box. Hell, throw in 9 if we have to.
Right.
Stop the run.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm saying to commit to that is because Joe Flacco and his ability to throw the ball does not scare me.
Right, and I'm with you. Like I'm one of those people. We're on the exact same page, Chris. Make them beat us over the top because they can't. They can't beat us over the top. And I'm not saying that's a testament to the Chiefs' defense. It's just like you said, Flacco's never been that guy. He's like an Alex Smith. He doesn't take those huge shots down the field. He's more of a game manager. And I'll tell you what, that's a scary situation for a quarterback, who's a game manager who stands in the pocket and really can't scramble around as well as, he did in years past. I think that, if we stack that box the whole game, the entire game, I think we can come out with a victory. Because there's 2 players that we need to shut down, and that's it. It's whatever running back is in and whatever quarterback is in, because, hey, you never know in the NFL. But we have Joe Flacco, and I think we can stop him. It's just still scary with that running game.
Yeah, and the looking at the Flacco stats, just to throw some stuff out there to support what we're saying, Flacco has 6 touchdowns in 6 games. He's thrown 5 interceptions, and in 6 games, he's been sacked 15 times.
No offensive line.
He's thrown for 2/3 of the yards that Patrick Mahomes, on a bad ankle, has thrown. And for anybody who's ever played baseball or quarterback, you've ever thrown anything, and you've done it correctly, you need your plant foot, your front foot, Patrick Mahomes' left ankle, to support your throw. If you can't push down on that because of the pain, you're essentially throwing off of your back foot on every throw.
Yes, and that's what he's doing.
To still be able to throw for an average of 300 yards a week on a bad ankle, that's impressive. And then you throw in, on top of that, the fact that our wide receivers and tight end have caught a catch of the dropsies like it's flu season for some reason. And we need Kelsey to step up and set the tone and start catching the ball.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with him, what he has going, but yeah, he needs to get his head back in the game. And so, look, you kind of touch base, on Mahomes' ankle injury. And look, Kansas City, this is an issue, and I've been saying it, and I'll continue to say it until this gets taken care of. Like, this is an issue. And it continues to be an issue. We continue putting him in places, in vulnerable situations for this injury to get worse. And I'm worried. I feel like that we have every reason in the world to be worried, and we need to take the precautions to make sure this man is protected, because this is a bigger issue than he's letting on. He's a leader. He knows what's at stake, and I promise you Patrick Mahomes will not come out unless, that dude won't come out unless he's dead. And then we'll revive him on the sideline, and he'll ask to go back in. That's the type of player Patrick Mahomes is, but we've got to tame the lion a little bit on all aspects, not just with the injuries, but, Andy Reid needs to take his control back a little bit with Patrick, and Patrick needs to quit taking shots downfield every time. There's a few things that Patrick needs to fix, but I feel like I'm going into a rant about this. But it's concerning on all levels. Chris, what do you think about this Patrick Mahomes injury? Everything that's going on with Patrick Mahomes right now, because there's a lot. What do you think?
Okay, so to kind of touch on what you were saying as far as protecting him from himself is, honestly, and this is very much contradictory to what I was saying Sunday night, but the Chiefs need to go out there and in the first half blow the Broncos out of the stadium.
Yes.
Build a big lead, halftime, Patrick Mahomes, you do not leave the locker room. Matt Moore, you go in. Mahomes, take the rest of the night off. Put your ankle up. Put some ice on it. We'll see you in 10 days when we play the Packers.
I would love that. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be huge for Patrick Mahomes. This bye week is going to be a big deal. He needed it. And it's an extended bye week, which is even better. Well, that's not a bye week. I'm sorry. A long extended week because of the Thursday night game. Sorry, not bye week. But he needs that. That man needs that 10 days rest, and he does. He just needs to kick back and put his ankle up and just chill for a little bit. And I'd love to see us, have a huge first half and him sit the second. That'd be great because I think Matt Moore is a game manager. You put Matt Moore in a game where we're up 4 touchdowns and there's only one half of football, I feel like we can pull out that victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And what that would also allow for us to do is to build our running game, which has been non-existent for the last couple of weeks, and it's really starting to upset me.
Yes.
And honestly, I think that's a huge key component as to why our offense and defense have been performing at the level that they've been. I'm not going to go into that too much right now, but probably after this game, I'll either rant on it here on the show or on our upcoming blog.
Yes, by the way, the webpage is almost done. We missed our Sunday deadline, but that's all right. It's not easy to put together a webpage, but kckingdomradio.com should be up and running this week. We'll let everybody know. I'm excited to get it going, and there's a lot of great content. But yes, we will have the blogs, and that's going to be some exclusive content, make you want to go to the webpage and check out our analysis. We've got a few guys writing blogs for us. It's a lot of fun. And, hey, we've got, I think you all know that Kingdom Radio produces great content. So, yeah, go check that webpage out. It'll be done this week at some point. Chris, thank you for bringing that up. But, yeah, let's roll on here a little bit. I wanna ask you, Chris, what are your big keys to victory? I know that you've said, quite a bit here. We need to run the ball, obviously control the line of scrimmage, create turnovers. But what is the big key for you? I want to know the one thing that Chris Chavez thinks will solidify the win for Kansas City, a very, very much needed, important win, because we cannot go to 4-3.
To really cut it down to one thing, I'm going to say that we need a big run game. I know that we need to put up points, and Mahomes needs to have a big game, but we need to establish the run. If we establish the run, that opens things up for Mahomes. He can get those big throws, or he can hit those open wide receivers, because players have to play up closer to the line of scrimmage to honor the run game if we can establish it. Which kind of feeds into the offensive line. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to leave it with we need to establish the run and have a big run game. I think if we hit over 100 yards in the run game, we should win this game.
Yes, and to be honest with you, it's deeper than just the run game, because if you look at the time of possession, these last few games, look, our last game, we were on the field 17 minutes less than the Texans. That blows my mind. We cannot do that. Clock management, Andy Reid, get on it. The clock management right now is in the bottom of the trash, and we got to hone in on this. Get the running game going. We have LaShawn McCoy. We have Damian Williams. Darrell Williams is showing us some great things too. Like, let him run. I mean, Shady needs to quit carrying the ball like a loaf of bread, like you had touched base on, last week. But look, let the man produce. We cannot have 12 to 14 touches a game and expect to win any game.
Yeah, we definitely need to control the clock, control the amount of time that our defense is off the field, and the amount of time that their defense is on the field. Other teams have been able to command that and control that, And that's why they've been winning the games lately, or at least making them competitive 3 weeks ago.
Right. It's time we put our foot down. We got to bring the hammer and start chopping some wood, because I feel like we're losing a little bit of the passion that is the Chiefs, and we got to get it back. And what better way to get it back than against a divisional opponent on primetime television, which honestly we haven't looked great on primetime television for the last year and a half. So, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to add to the show this evening? I guess we can do our predictions, but outside of that, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, pun intended. I don't know if everybody got to see the video of Honey Badger talking at his locker after the game on Sunday, and got to see and hear the passion that was coming from him. The emotions from that man was real. He was raw. You could tell that he felt that loss.
Yes.
And I haven't seen every interview. I haven't seen every player after every single game, but I can't remember seeing a player that hurt after one game. Even some of our playoff losses, I can't remember seeing a guy that hurt. And he earned so much more respect from me from that game, that loss, that I don't think he could do anything that would lose that respect for me at any point.
And I will say that there's a number of the players on our defense, on the Chiefs defense, that is owning the fact that they need to step up. Frank Clark is one of them. He also made a statement that said that the defense has to step up and make an identity and stop, putting all the pressure on the offense, because that's exactly what's going on. But I don't think that the defense is getting enough credit for as much time as they spend on the field. So it's one of those things. It's about clock management. As an Andy Reid thing, we got to hone in on this. And I'm with you on that one, Chris. And so what's your prediction for Thursday night's game? It's highly important. It's the difference between 5-2 and 4-3.
Yeah, and looking back at the recent history with these guys, they've played us close every single game.
Yes.
And, you look back 2 games ago, when we played them, or not 2 games, I'm sorry. 2 seasons ago, Patrick Mahomes' first game in Denver, he comes back in the fourth quarter, leads us to a fourth quarter comeback. Last year, we had the left-handed throw. These games are won by moments in the game.
Yes.
I'm going to say this one ends up being a 27-23 win for the Chiefs.
I like your thoughts there. I'm going to take the score down even lower. My thoughts, and my heart is set on this. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game 17-16. It's still going to be another sputtering day for the Chiefs, but we're going to control the clock. And we're going to make some big plays on defense. And I feel like that we can come out of this with a win if we go into it with the right mindset.
Up until last week, I didn't think I would ever see the Chiefs score in the teens again while Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback.
Right.
So I can't argue with your prediction. It definitely makes a lot of sense.
It's one of those things that, hey, anything can happen in the NFL. Mahomes is sputtering a little bit. He's got a bad ankle. He's throwing off his back foot because he has to. Like you said, you put a lot of emphasis on, your plant foot. Your plant foot is everything. And I look for Mahomes to continue to struggle until he can sit down for 10 days and put that ankle up. So, yeah, it's the 17-16 for me. It's a victory. It's going to be a hard fought-out victory, but I think we can continue our streak here and make it 9 in a row against the Broncos.
I would, if I could, I would certainly have a drink to that, sir.
Well, fair enough. Well, Kansas City, hey, it might be time for you to go out and have a drink. It is 9:30 Arrowhead time, and we really like to get the show out to you, before you go to sleep. I had a lot of good content on the show. A lot of big moves in the NFL. We look for that to continue because, the trade deadline is coming up. There's still another week and a half before that actually happens. But, we're going to see some more action here around the NFL. So keep your eyes and your ears open, and we'll see if Kansas City pulls the trigger on any high-profile players. So with that being said, Chris, I really appreciate you coming on the show this evening. It's always a pleasure talking football with you, especially Chiefs football.
As always, I tremendously appreciate the opportunity and the chance to talk football with you as well.
Hey, perfect, my guy. Well, I will tell you what, Kansas City, we will be back here for a post-game show, I'm sure, on Friday, to talk about the results of this Denver Broncos game. And like I said, check out this webpage. It'll be up and running. You can actually subscribe right now. If you go to kingdomradio.com, it says at the top, page coming soon. Put your email address in and go ahead and subscribe. Our apparel is still for sale. And our link has changed, and I wish I had that on me tonight. We did this show on the fly. On the next show, I'll provide our different link because our link has changed. It changed stores, so we kind of had to start everything over, which is okay. It's all right, but we need to get that information out there to Chiefs Kingdom. And then also our live show. Get out there Thursday night and have fun for Donkey Haters Week. Come watch the show at Platte City Pizza Shop. There's food deals. Drink specials. There's Derek Thomas raffle signed memorabilia. Kansas City, Derek Thomas signed memorabilia. This thing is amazing. It's a shrine for Derek Thomas. It's one of a kind. You'll never ever see one like it again. And I'm happy to be able to raffle off such an amazing prize. But we also have Dante Hall signed memorabilia, and we have Tony Gonzalez signed memorabilia that we are raffling off. So get up there to Pizza Shop Platte City this Thursday, live show for Kingdom Radio. I believe that we are starting at 6 p.m. So show Kingdom Radio some support and get up there and watch us live. And with that being said, Kansas City, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to let Chris get back to his evening. Go Chiefs. Keep your eyes peeled because there definitely could be more trades in action. Have a great night, Kansas City.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Radio, your go-to podcast for everything Kansas City Chiefs.